shit in it. Data's, we know all this kind of stuff, but it's kind of contextualize itself. Grammar and system are important. Probably. I think the dematerialization shit is in fact actually computer programming and not dematerialization. It's in fact actually only user ignorance. The fact that the art theory is made by people who do not understand how to program computers, that they think it's dematerialization in parts of materialization. But essentially, the computer is about manipulating memory. So it's a Turing machine, it's a memory processing machine. Which brings us on to Einstein, because you have time space, Einsteinian time space. And a Turing machine is essentially one-dimensional time space machine, because as it moves through memory or moves through space, it changes it and modulates it. So it's time space. So we have this whole, actually it's interesting, we have this whole bullshit about randomness and things like that. And people think that you have, it's describable, and if it's describable, then it's deterministic, and if it's not deterministic, describable, it's not random kind of thing. But determinism and random are two completely different things. Something can be determined, but not predictable, and that's because of the complex nature of the space. In fact, the whole chaos theory is about things which are deterministic but not predictable, which somehow or other seems to have been missed in this whole random debate, which I think is typical of what happens when people don't have a historical context, because I'm sorry, I'm a fascist, and I believe that all post-1980 art historical theory has lost the historical continuity with the early stuff, and therefore is false. I'm sorry, that's my position, take it or leave it, okay? So we have the transformation machine. The computer is a transformation machine. Escher Gödel-Bark talks about the translation, how a system, when it's translated, becomes inconsistent and contradictory. So I think the implementing things on the computer is a Gödelian machine. It's the reason things get screwed up when you try to use a computer. So we're talking about translation. Okay, so it's really about to be or not to be. And so things actually exist in a Platonic sense, or is the world around us created entirely through the context in which we ourselves have created? Which is a postmodernist position, I admit, except for the fact that the postmodernists have made one stupid mistake: they've forgotten Einstein. And the point is that Einstein is capable of mapping relativity and making sense out of it and gaining new knowledge. And the whole cultural universe has decided that because something is subjective, it has no real meaning, so you don't have to bother with it, and so they disappear up their own conceptual arses and don't get anywhere. Okay, I'm sorry about that, but that's the way I see it. Okay? In 1972, I went to the Institute of Sinology to discover computers, because in 1972, I wasn't lucky like you guys. There were no computers around. I had to go all the way from England to Holland to get hold of a computer, after being thrown out of the Leicester Polytechnic because I've been using their computer too much. Okay? So I went there, 72, was an illegal immigrant for a year, I believe, it doesn't matter. I arrived there as an artist, not knowing all about music. I mean, I'm tone deaf, absolutely useless, but there was this musicological institute, and what the fuck do you do there as an artist? Okay, two things. The first thing in a computer is input, process, output, and you can decouple those things and play around with them from here to kingdom come. So you can take stock exchange prices and make a musical piece, etc., etc., etc. I've no time to go into that. I could tell you a funny joke about it. No. And there was personal confrontation also, which I had, because there was me as a tone-deaf sculptor in electronic music environment. So what the fuck do you do? Well, the thing is, you make mappings. You make mappings between visual stuff, and you make mappings between electronic music stuff. And you think, maybe it's possible to use visual art knowledge to make music structures. Okay. And this is a kind of satire of Western culture, which I call a strange model, which appears to be often believed, because most people do, or people did believe it. Steiner Vazulka looked at it once and said, this is rubbish. Only men have believed this, so if you want to be feminist, then, But anyhow, so there's this, mind-body split, men are good, women are evil, to do with the heart, emotions, all this kind of shit, okay? Some people know that, some people don't. So we make an experiment. We take an electronic circuit, we map it into sound, we map it into image, and we look at it, okay? And what happens, okay? Well, what happens was, I'm visually trained, so I can see maybe all these patterns a little bit in the visual stuff, but I don't know what the shit I've done in the sound. And it's in a musicological institute, so you've got all these people who can't see shit for the visual stuff, but can hear the patterns that I'm not making, or something like that, okay? So basically, we've got media distortion here. We've got we've got the classic transmission coding decoding model, okay? Platonic system which says there's a message, you code it, you transmit it, you decode it, and you get the message back. Funny enough, when you do that in parallel, you don't. So the whole fucking communication model, the whole theory of Western, bullshit, up the arseholes, okay? What caused it? It's all these interactions between geometries, different geometries of different spaces, okay? So actually, I've got some videos which are really crabby stuff, but they're actually the things that I did at that time. And actually, the very nice one I did pulse modulation, but maybe we can show them later sometime. Okay. There was problems with technical equipment, and because I was doing that analog. Sorry, guys. I went to be digital, but I fell in love with the analog stuff, and I did the analog stuff. But then they threw me out of the analog studio because it was too expensive. So going back to computer. So not being very technical, I didn't do real-time video synthesis, and I decided to drop the sound and to work with graphic translations. Okay. So we need a language. So you take one point and increase it up to 6 or something like that in the circle. You get all these connecting points, which has got nothing to do with anything, but still. Why is it taking so long to load? Oh, sorry, I didn't even click, sorry. Okay, so if we just take a repertoire of 4 points, we can generate from that this repertoire of symbols, okay? Just by connecting all the points, and you can organise them in different ways, because you can take them either as unique symbols which are rotated, or you can include all the rotations as separate states. So it doesn't really matter, okay? But the point is, you can build up a representation space there by organising in 2 dimensions, as you can see here. The vertical ones are all vertical lines in one way, and the horizontal lines are all the same in the other dimension, I think. So in this way, you can build up a matrix of languages, if you like, little symbols, horizontal, vertical, diagonal lines, which can be taken in pairs to translate the binary image. And you can see on the top there, there's one pair used to translate this kind of stuff. Okay. And we can do that slightly more systematically. Here's a group of, A. What I've done here, I've been really cool, because I've taken lines that are all ambiguous with each other, because they're the upper and lower things of things, and are they going from left to right or right to left, etc., etc., etc. So if you make the translation 4 times just using those line combinations, it's completely ambiguous, and all 4 translations look exactly the same. But if you're lazy, and instead of drawing just the lines, you draw the connections between the lines, then you suddenly get a completely different set of combinations. And so what this actually does is it makes the translations with the lines, with the spaces, and with the lines and spaces. And you can see that A gets distorted to such a point that you could actually be starting to have arguments and fights. Are you really talking about the same information? And in fact, that's the whole point of what was so exciting about this thing, was that how many arguments are we having purely because we don't understand the representation method? And that's the reason it's so vital that people look at the representations and take account of the representations, and don't say, as current theory does, the representation doesn't matter because it's rubbish, okay? And that's the danger. And it's an awful social danger that we're now in. And it's a disgusting academic position that's been taken, I'm afraid. I'm sorry about that, but it's true. Again, bang! And fuck you with the modern theories, okay? What I've done here is to take these binary patterns, map them into a number of these messy little languages, change the size of them all, and expand them and rotate them and let them disappear up their own arseholes, and you can make all sorts of little patterns of that. So the point is, there's a whole universe of patterns which you can make, which are only just translations into different languages of the same pattern, and then fed into itself and back up its own arsehole kind of thing. I did click on, okay. And this is just the same process, asymmetrically done. Okay, it's quite. So, we're now reached the end. Back again. Okay, fine. So there's the videos which I'm not presenting because there's no time. How is the time, by the way?
Pretty good.
9 minutes. Great, fantastic. Okay, there's some Amiga stuff as well, which I'm not showing. I made a website. Actually, in the last month, I've made a website in two Java works. Actually, here's my website. I think I want to show some work on this. Actually, this is. It's actually working. Sorry. This is something a little bit pretty. It's actually about representations in a certain sense, because it's the same information interpreted in different ways. But that's not really important.
What's going on there?
Yeah, I haven't got time to explain, but I will if anybody asks me afterwards. How do I close this? Just close window, huh? Okay, great stuff. Oh, I'm back. Well, anyhow, oh shit, I'll go back. I've lost the website. I want to go back to the website. I want to go back to the work. Okay, because there's another one here, which is Weaver. Which is what this is. It's a scanning system, just basically scanning. And if you're lucky, there's a menu right here. So you can change things like the increment of the scanning thing, and you can change if it's going to keep going horizontal, vertical, and you can change the size of the block and all that kind of shit. And actually, what you can also do is there's a read thing here. So you can say, okay, number 1's a read and number 2's a read, let's say, and number 3 is plotting. And if you're lucky, and I can get rid of the menu, go. What it's doing is one scanning thing scanning through somewhere and reading and writing, to a buffer, and then another process is coming up, picking up the information that the other one's seen, and then drawing it into the system. Okay, and that just keeps on going ad infinitum. So that's a kind of.
Just use the little black arrow just underneath your.
What?
You see
that?
Two little black arrows, top left-hand corner.
No. What? Where? Where? Here.
No. Up and left.
I'll show you. Sorry.
That's all right. We'll go back. Just click
on that. Oh, sorry. Oh, back there. I thought you were talking about the work. Sorry. Okay. Jesus. Okay. This one's a compendium work, because the other ones were a little bit too conceptual. I thought I'll do this one because it's a bit prettier and maybe gives you an idea. But unfortunately, see. That's the wrong one. So it's got lots of little different kind of processes all built into them, but they're all individual processes, you see. What's the time? I can't remember. But anyhow, there's all these different processes, all right? Like there's this little wing thing, and there's some little figure things that rotate and things like that. What they're doing is they're basically moving around in this space, getting information from the space, doing their little thing, and writing to the space, and you get this kind of ecology of things interacting in the space kind of thing. Okay. But I thought that was. Actually, I don't want to close that one because I didn't go there. Close window. Huh? Okay. Because I want to go to recent work. That last one and this one and the website that I made in the last month, especially for this presentation. Okay. What this one is the compendium work. I mean, it's not very nice having. I mean, anybody can make a whole list of algorithms. I mean, kind of thing. So what this one is I've tried to conceptualize them in a conceptual context. So there are various kind of abstract processes, which ways that the line moves have been abstracted, and there's that's the process. And there's circle rules, so you can change the angle rule, which determines how the thing moves in the angle, and you can also do the same with the radius and things. So you can make circle things, let's say radius rules. So you can make them all. If you want, you can make them all static, for example, so then they're not going to change at all. Or you can change the glyph thing, so you can have you can have them all doing triangles if you want, this kind of thing. So you can change the mapping and you can restart it and things like that. So it's really constructing the conceptual space with which the other ones on the previous work were all in. Okay. Any questions? We've got 5 minutes, 19 seconds.
Well, then you've got another 5 minutes for questions.
Yeah, that's what I said. Any questions? Okay. I mean, this random debate. I mean, there is no. There's a random start. It's like the Big Bang theory. There's a random start, and after that, there's no random in this thing. Actually, I don't like that. I'll put it back to the way it was because I thought that was prettier. So I mean, what random is? I mean, you can be deterministic in one universe, but not deterministic in the other universe. So if you map from one to the other, it's random in the other universe. I mean, you know, you see, again, this is stuff that people were talking about in the 60s and 70s. There was a whole, people knew about this kind of stuff. There's a whole debate there, and it's all been forgotten. And people are back now, struggling around, trying to rediscover a whole universe which had been charted and discovered in the 70s, 60s and 70s, maybe even earlier, but got annihilated by people like Issia and the guys from Rotterdam and things like that, who have gone around promoting commercial systems so that all these idiots go out and buy this Microsoft junk, okay? And the whole goddamn world has been corrupted, in fact, by the commercialisation of the computer.
I think it's what your criticisms, as I've heard them over the last week, have identified is, yeah, the difference maybe is that people are more used to the language of commercial software, so rediscovering simple algorithms that, or not even simple algorithms, but quite complex mathematical structures that are unfamiliar as part of computer use becomes, you know, that's an experience, that's something that has a very striking form quality because the context in which it's deployed is one that's very overwritten by a piece of software or a kind of desire-driven experience of software rather than a kind of pleasure-driven experience of it. So,
but the basic, sorry.
No, I think you're criticising people's reactions as if
that's complete misinterpretation. I mean, a lot of people misunderstand what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you are the unfortunate people who have been born into a generation which has been totally corrupted, okay? And no, I'm not seriously. I mean, it's like, well, no, I mean, seriously. I mean, I don't know how many people are here from Eastern Europe. How many people, you know, the wall goes down and suddenly you're there from, oh, fuck me, you know, where's been years of history because we have been in a corrupt universe for 50 years and we've not been allowed to express the truth and we've not told the truth and we've not been allowed to talk about the truth. And that's exactly the situation that I'm saying that we, or people are in post-1980 computer business, okay? And I'm not blaming you for having been born in that. I'm blaming the people who deliberately and systematically created that situation so that you would be misinformed and not understand what you're doing. Sorry, you asked that. Sorry, I can't. Is this going to fit on reality? Where am I going? Ah, that's interesting actually. What I'm doing is I'm disappearing into formality, okay, and I'm researching kind of rituals and formal systems and things like that, which is exactly everything that everybody is officially opposed to because we don't have formal things. And I think at some time society is going to have to wake up. I mean, it's to do with the cultural scientific split, because all of science originally came out of ritual and magic, and it got split off. And the Inquisition, you know, made it impossible for people who were scientists to have anything that had got any kind of emotional contact, because then you were likely to be burnt as a witch. Okay, so somehow or other, science and magic has got to, and ritual and formal systems have got to reunite. And if you like to have a closing thought, I mean, Pythagoras, who is seen as one of the founding, is Pythagoras, the square on the hypotenuse is Pythagoras, okay? Yeah, Pythagoras, who is seen as the one of the founding fathers of mathematics, which is seen as a scientific, rational process. Pythagoras was a mystic, okay? So mathematics belongs to art and it belongs to mysticism and it doesn't belong to rationalism and science. And if you make that decision, then you're really going to screw yourself up. And we have to reunite that, okay? And that's what this is about. I mean, these are very, very high-level abstract models. I mean, it's a multi-dimensional universal Turing machine, basically. Okay? Yeah, sure, sorry.
I'm just trying to get at your polemics, right? Because I think
They're not so important. You can forget the polemics and just concentrate on the work if you want. I mean, it was just that I have been very aggressively treated. Okay, you know, my work is denied completely by the academic world. So I have to fight back and say fuck you because I'm here, and you're going to have to know that I'm here, even though you deny me. But once that's gone, there's no problem. There's no need to fight.
But for instance, if you take sort of the you know, the history of computer art, and if you take, you know, sort of the Macintosh Windows bullshit that's
Which is where it started.
Yeah, well, which has sort of destroyed it.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
You know, to my point of view, the software art, and you know, this it's exactly a reaction against.
Well, it's not a reaction actually. It's a reuniting with the tradition.
Yeah.
So I mean, you know,
that's my point. And also I think, you know, I see there are several attempts to sort of rediscover the early
Sure.
computer art. And you know, to talk about even some of the early people again, like in Aarhus we had Frida Lage visiting.
Yeah,
you know,
great.
and it's really interesting to hear him talk about their experiments at that time in '65, because they're so, you know, they're so connected to software art.
Exactly. Yeah. And yet Inga said that we weren't, you see, in her speech. And this is
I
not.
think it was misunderstood.
Well, it sounded very much like. I mean, you know, I'm not going to get into personal fight, but I mean, it sounded very much like it. But if people think that, even if you didn't say it, people think that.
I also pretty much agree on that. You know, that a lot of sort of the postmodern theoretization on you know, digital whatever is wrong. That it doesn't grasp the sort of reality of computer whatever. But I think there's a strong in that sense. I think you're running open doors in. I don't know if you
Yes, no. Actually, to be quite honest, I was going to make a kind of apology at the beginning, but I was worried about time, because his whole presentation has literally been born out of this presentation here. Okay, the first time I've had an up-to-date website for years. It's literally born. But when it was born, I realised it should really have been presented in the conference and not here, but it was born here and should have been presented there. But when it was born, it was too late to present it. And I suspect it's a bastard or something. I mean, you know, it's a founderling or something, because it doesn't. It was born here, but it doesn't belong here. Okay.
but I remember I heard you, I think 3 or 4 years ago. Sorry.
2 minutes. Sorry. Can I? Oh, did you want to say?
We all want to talk to you.
Sorry. Carry on then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I heard you 3 or 4